We're live over there.
Loading, and we are live now.
I love knowing that. There we go. Welcome, everybody, to the Patrick Carr Show. Thanks, everybody, for joining us here on a Monday. We got Anthony back over there behind the camera. Thanks, Anthony, for finally joining us.
Good to be back. Just took a holiday. Just relax and just chilled all week.
Yeah, that's what you did, buddy. I'll tell you. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, or you're just first time joining us, Anthony's behind the camera over here. And Anthony, you have been just working your butt off on all this content that we've been creating lately. And so big shout out to you. You've been doing an amazing job back there, bro.
Thank you, man.
I know a lot of people are appreciating what you're doing. And, for those of you who don't know how this show works, I appreciate everybody sending myself and Anthony and messages. You can reach Anthony over at anthony@thepatrickcarrshow.com if you have anything that you want us to cover. But I hear you all, and you send us these great messages of things you want us to cover, but I want you to understand something. We are a two-man team, and I also run a business. It's a pretty large business over here in Orlando. I say that because, listen, y'all, I want to cover a lot of stories. I want to get to things. I want to cover what's important to you, but at the same token, I want you to also understand that we have a limited amount of time to be able to do the research that we do. And there's so much, in my opinion, corruption throughout Central Florida that, Anthony, we would love to get to every story, but we simply can't. And we do our absolute best every weekend, every night, to check our emails and our messages to try to bring you great guests onto the show. Yes, people, we are working on getting Fish back onto the show. I am in talks with his people today. I know some of you have been wanting to get him on the show. We also in talks with Congressman Frost on the Democratic side. So we're in talks with these people to get them on. We hear what you want. Just please show us a little bit of grace as we try to cover every story from the perspective that maybe is going to give you a little insight, but also understand we can't get to every single story that's out there, and nor can Anthony and I reply to every message that we get. Have a little bit of grace for us. We're trying to bring you a live show here every single day with me and him. If you really want to show us some support, go sponsor the show over at thepatrickcarrshow.com. We could use a little bit of money to do this. Right now, folks, I'm sure you can imagine, show don't make us any money. So as much as we love to do this for you, help us out. I mean, we'd appreciate it. If not, we'll continue to bring you value where we can, but we sure as heck would appreciate a few dollar bills to be able to do this every day for you. With that behind us, Anthony, it's good to have you back. What'd you do over the weekend, brother?
I just been down to West Palm, hanged out with some friends and stuff, and just hanged out there.
Just hanging out at West Palm. But it was your birthday, right?
Yeah.
Big birthday for Anthony over there.
Yeah, just,
all right.
Just hanged out, just got some drinks.
Just got hammered down in West Palm.
Oh yeah, man. got a Long Island iced tea. Usually don't do that.
You were doing Long Islands?
Well, I just got the one. I was like, let's go have some fun.
I bet you did on some Long Islands, bro.
Yeah, dude.
I remember going on cruises when I was like in college, doing Adios Mother-ers, right? And they were basically blue Long Islands. It was a Long Island with blue Caraco or whatever it's called, whatever it is. It makes it blue.
Yeah.
And they called them Adios, that whole thing. And I was just pounding those on cruise ships, man. Going on like spring break, University of Florida, that whole thing. It was a good time. Folks, we've got a full docket here for you. So if you're driving around in your car, you're sitting there at your desk, wherever you're at right now, maybe you're at lunch right now, early lunch, maybe making a little sandwich at home, whatever it is. Make sure you turn the volume up because we're going to be bringing you some great stories going on here in Central Florida and around the country. Excited to bring these to you. All right. Now, on Friday, I teased this one a little bit, Anthony, as I wanted to talk about one Tiffany Moore Russell. She is the current clerk of court, although she is ending her term there very shortly, as she is running to be your next mayor of Orange County. For a lot of you, you don't know this. There are two mayors in Central Florida. There's the mayor that everybody thinks about for Orlando, and there's also the mayor of Orange County. Right now, that's Demings who sits there. He's not going to be continuing. And so we have an open race right now, and we're going to be talking about the debate for that race coming up in like our third segment here today. But for right now, what I need you to understand is that in 16 days on August the 18th, there are going to be two races, okay, simultaneously that you need to know about, because although they seem You have a 21-year-old bank teller. That's going to be Miss Roberta Wiggins, or Roberta Walton at the time, back in 1996. We're going to talk about what she does as a bank teller. And then in the same decade, you have an Orlando young woman who goes to Dr. Phillips High School, goes through law school, and before she's turning 30, she becomes the first commissioner in the county. So you have two very different paths that these two women take. And I want to talk first about one, Roberta Wiggins, or became Roberta Walton. She is the one many of you are not familiar with. And I want to talk about how her life begins, and then perhaps you can start to make some inferences here for yourself. Back in 1996, Roberta Wiggins at the time, who is now Roberta Walton, she was a teller at Nations Bank in Tallahassee. Now, you would think, everyone, when you go into the bank and you give your teller some money or some cash, they're going to do the right thing with it. Unfortunately, that was not the case. Roberta Walton, was not doing things the right way. Let me tell you what happened. Now, there was a clerk inside the Georgia Department of Revenue named Fonsa Jeter, I can never pronounce it right, who actually stole 246 state tax refund checks. These are checks that people were owed. We're talking about checks for $348, $546. You know, those checks that are coming in the mail at the end. Now, he steals these checks. The problem is he doesn't know how to get the money, right? He's got to get that money out of those checks. Well, he finds a way to get $230,000 stolen from people that were waiting on their refund checks. And the way he does it is through a middleman named Jason Hardwick. Jason Hardwick, stay with me, everyone. His job was to find tellers at banks who were willing to cash these checks in exchange for making a few bucks themselves. And who did he find? Well, Miss Roberta Walton. Now, this is all documented, everybody, but I want to lay out the story for you as a viewer. So at one time, you've got the current person who's in the clerk of court position. I'm going to lay it out. Tiffany Moore Russell. She's doing everything that I can see above board. She's doing the law school thing. She's from Orlando. She's got all that. Then you've got old Roberta Walton over here. She's not doing things the right way at her young age. She's involved all of a sudden in a check fraud ring over there in this whole entire thing, stealing checks, people waiting for their money they're never going to get. Between January 22nd and April 4th, Walton cashed 32 stolen checks, totaling over $26,000. For that service, she was given $2,000 by this guy, Jason Hardwick. The government states it very plainly in their case that she absolutely knew that the checks were stolen. Now, that doesn't mean that this woman had one bad day where she made a bad decision. And I'm not saying doing something like a DUI is in any way a good thing. But there was not like one decision that she made and then boom, we're just going to go ahead and tack this one on for years and years. 32 separate times, that woman stood behind a counter, took in a stolen check and said, I'm going to cash this. Somebody else is never going to get this money. I'm going to get a fee for this. This guy is going to get rich. There's a lot of different ways that this can be looked at, and all of them are like, you're a piece of crap. All right. Listen, I'm one of those people who believes this. I think that people can make bad decisions, and I believe that people can change. And I can say that people are the people they are. They have character flaws in them. This right here shocked me when I actually had to think about, okay, this means that this woman sat there and looked at a name on a check and the person in front of her, knowing good well that wasn't the person, but said, I'm going to do the illegal thing 1, 2, 3, 10, 11, 14, 26. Well, heck with it. We're just going to keep on doing it 32 different times. There were people that were waiting on that money. She was the inside person in this entire thing. Now, so these, like I said, some of these checks, $358, $429, $520. She was arrested in 2000 by the U.S. Marshals and pleaded guilty to 2 federal felonies, Guidelines gave her 6 to 12 months that she should have spent in prison. She didn't get any of that. In fact, she got 5 years of probation. All right. She cooperated with the FBI starting in 1996. She gave up 5 other defendants and testified in trial, and she was sentenced to that 5 years of probation in order to pay back that $26,000 she had, in fact, stolen. Okay, so now let's fast forward because, again, we've got these 2 timelines I want everyone to keep in mind. Fast forward now to 2004. That probation that she was on for that check fraud, well, it ended early because of good compliance. Cool. Good for her. 2005, civil rights for her were restored with the exception of firearms, which was excluded. That same year, she goes to FAMU, and she graduates with a College of Law in the first class of the reopened school. If people don't know this, they were closed for a while and they reopened. Okay, now we're starting to see them start to collide here, everybody. Okay, remember we had 2 parallels going. 2005, that happens for one Roberta Walton. Now, 2006, Tiffany Moore Russell is elected to the county commission at 27. Remember I said she was doing everything the right way. She's the youngest in the county's history to be elected to be commissioner. Good for Tiffany Moore Russell back in 2006. Now, from 2006 to 2014, Tiffany Moore Russell serves her 2 terms, and she creates what is called a self-help center. It's listed as one of her accomplishments. At the same time, Walton is over there practicing law and doing her thing in some legal services for a community center. So she's doing her thing, and Tiffany Moore Russell is over here doing her thing, making her way through the county commissioner. She's termed out, though, all right? And so now what happens is in 2014, Tiffany Moore Russell becomes the county clerk of court. And late 2015, about 7 months in, all of a sudden, things start to collide between these 2 women. In 2015, about 7 months into that position as the clerk of court, all of a sudden, a new position and a job magically appears, everybody. And that a job is a part of a self-help division. The job was never posted publicly. It was posted inside, and it was posted for 5 days, and it was immediately marked pre-identified candidate selected. What do you know? 1 month later, Roberta Walton gets the job. She discloses her felonies on the application. So at that exact same time, I got to give Channel 9 some credit where it's due. They report on this and go, oh, hold up now. Something doesn't sit right with us right here. You mean to tell me you 2 women, you've got one that hires somebody who's got a couple felonies in a position that they just created without making the position public to anybody? Now, all of a sudden, isn't it yellow flags, everybody? Start to see how this comes together. Well, hold on, Pat. I mean, maybe that's just a coincidence. Yeah, except for, guess what? They were both sorority sisters and friends from everything that I can gather. That's right. They both were sorority sisters in this same sorority of Alpha Kappa Alpha. I guess they look out for one another, including creating brand new positions that were not even, didn't even exist before. All right. So now Channel 9 does this report, and everybody in Orlando, I was here at the time, was like, yeah, this doesn't make a lot of sense. But the one thing that people said was, okay, she's coming into this position underneath the clerk of court. She's going to work directly underneath Tiffany Moore Russell. It's a cupcake position, though. Basically, she's just going to deal with some family law stuff. It's not a big deal that she's going to be involved in there with 2 felonies. And I think everybody started to forget about this entire thing, and it got swept under the rug. And for the last 10 years, you have this individual, Miss One Roberta Walton. Well, she starts rising up the ranks, everybody. From 2015 to 2026, she rises from self-help to family services, general counsel, and legislative director for the entire office. So you've got a pretty good promotion going on between these 2 women. One of them continues to be clerk of court, and her friend and sorority sister continues to get elevated within the exact department. So Not bad. Not bad. The only problem which starts to present itself is this. See, the clerk of court has a lot of sensitive information, everybody. And I'm not going to use the exact words here carefully, but let's call it an FBI database. And they have access to it. And one Tiffany Moore Russell, as the head of that department, signs off saying that everybody who has access to this FBI database is allowed and should have access to it. And in fact, this happened in May of 2025. Russell personally signs as the user chief executive officer for the FBI criminal justice system. She certifies that the office follows federal scrutiny rules. Very interesting that she says that. Now, Anthony, when was this? Shortly thereafter, I believe it was June the 15th, we received word from the FBI. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Is that that's
Let me double check that date.
all right. So now you're starting to see that, okay, she says that everybody should have access to this thing. The problem is that the FBI has said that you cannot have felonies to have unfettered access into this database. And so there becomes this discrepancy right now between these two women as she moves up in the ranks. Should she have had access into the FBI databases as a felon, or did she in fact have that access in the first place? The question becomes, if the individual was just a family attorney doing family law, that's one thing. But when you become the general counsel, when you become the legislative director for the entire office, I think it's very clear that you have access into the FBI database. So fast forward to June the 15th, the FDLE puts this in writing and says any applicant or volunteer with a felony conviction of any kind will not be allowed unescorted access to criminal history information. And then they say the big thing. I want everyone to remember this. No certification on record has ever been received for this individual, one Roberta Walton. So they're saying that they've never received an application to even grant her access into this FBI database, which is very interesting. And the question that I want answered and why I feel that we have something here that doesn't make sense. If everyone is following me thus far, fast forward to July the 21st in a candidate debate. Walton Johnson addressed the conviction publicly for the first time. She said she had a previously limited arrangement with FDLE and says that she can sign any required agreements if she is elected, meaning that she already has spoken with the FDLE and said, I've got a previous arrangement with them. If I get elected to the clerk of court, I understand there's been people who say you can't access this thing with felonies on your record, but I have a limited arrangement with them and I know it to be true. That was back on July the 21st. Have we gotten that arrangement, Anthony? Nope. So my question for this individual, one Roberta Walton, is where is that limited arrangement that you have with FDLE? Now, for some of you, you're like, boy, this is boring. I don't want you to think about it this way. Let me reframe why this matters, everybody. You have someone that committed fraud and is a two-time felon. Now, if we allow this individual to have access into the FBI, which includes warrants, information about prisoners, information about when they're going to do things and pick people up, these are sensitive information federally that this person would have access to. Does that not worry anybody? Don't we think we should guard that information with the highest level of scrutiny and security? I believe we should. And so when I would ask is, who is going to ask this question? I don't have access to her. I'll ask it right now. Miss Roberta Walton, show and display this limited agreement that you have with FDLE. Show me where they have said to you that if you become the clerk of court, that you can actually access in the FBI database, that you will be allowed to do that. If you can't, then we are electing somebody that we're going to immediately move into a legal battle. And you know what will happen, everyone? If you think the clerk of court is boring, which believe me, I kind of do, but let's be honest, everything comes to a halt. Marriage licenses, all this stuff, warrants being signed. You need someone who is qualified in that position to be able to do that work. And if this person can't, then we all lose. But more importantly, the bigger question to ask, do you want someone with felonies on their record having access to the county's and the country's most sensitive information? There is a reason that the FBI on the June 15th said this: any applicant or volunteer with a felony conviction of any kind will not be allowed unescorted access to criminal history information. There's a reason we don't want felonies on there, because it's a slippery slope. If you allow one felony, well, two felonies. Well, what about three, but they're 20 years ago? Don't tell me that people can't or can change. I agree people can change, but we have laws in this country for a reason. And what Roberta Walt, she has to answer to is, give us what you publicly said you have. You publicly said that you have a limited arrangement in place. Show me the writing for this limited arrangement. And if you can't produce a limited arrangement, then you are lying. And here is why I believe she is lying. Work with me here, everybody. Why do I believe Roberta Walton, who wants to be the head of the clerk of court for you, who wants to be the person who has that information, sign off on the warrants, is lying? It's because on June the 15th, the FDLE said no certification on record for this individual and no request for a determination has ever been received. So FDLE is saying, we've never heard of this person. We've never received a request from this person. And then she's going on in a debate and saying, I have a limited arrangement with FDLE. So either one, she's got some private arrangement that nobody is aware of, or two, she is simply lying and hoping that it's a boring enough thing for everybody just to ignore it. And then when she gets into office, she can worry about it at that time as an elected official. My opinion about this, everyone, and the reason I am so harping on this right here, is because we cannot allow felons to have access to the most sensitive information within our county and within our country. This person has already demonstrated 32 times that they were willing to take money away from people who needed checks from the government, like $528, and had no problem at the time putting it in her pocket. I am not saying that people cannot change or she's a bad person. What I am saying is that when you commit crimes, there are penalties associated with that. Like, she can't own a firearm, everybody. But yet, if she can't own a firearm, we want to go ahead and put her in charge of everybody who's going to get a warrant in Orange County. You want me to trust that she's going to do the right thing? I don't. I don't trust that. And my opinion is that this question needs to be answered before August the 18th. That's simple. Anthony, do I make sense so far? Because I have a lot of information to break down here for our viewers.
No, yeah, it's a lot of information. It's but no, I think you explained it really well.
Okay, so we've got our question. We have one question there for Roberta Walton. Clear question. We need documentation, and it's not coming from me. She said she has a limited arrangement. Now what she has to do is produce it. And if she can't, she's a liar. That's it. You lied. Either you can produce the limited arrangement or you cannot produce the limited arrangement. If she's already produced it, I couldn't find it, and I'll happily take it and say, hey, folks, I found it. Someone sent it to me. Looks like she had that limited arrangement. Good luck to her in the race. More power to her. But right now, this does not look good to me. This looks like an individual who's saying he had some limited arrangement during a debate because she probably got caught off guard by the question or didn't know how to answer it, and therefore said something that was not true and is hoping that basically everybody thinks this is too complicated and goes away. Because let me tell you what, I did the research on this one, Anthony. Great way to spend my Sunday night. Let me tell you, God almighty. Much rather be having a few drinks with you, you know?
Yeah, dude.
All right. So we've established our question there for one, Roberta Walton, who was Roberta Wiggins when she got arrested. Got it. Now let me talk to Tiffany Moore Russell. So Tiffany Moore Russell works with this woman for 11 years, right? A long time. They work together. All right. She's rising through the ranks 2015 to 2026. She's rising through all the way to be the legislative director and the general counsel for the entire clerk of court office. So these two women are working hand in hand. They started sorority sisters and friends, and now they're working hand in hand. One of them's trying to be the mayor. The other one is trying to take her place as the clerk of court. It's very clear where their paths interact. And what I don't understand from Tiffany Moore Russell is, in 11 years of watching this person rise to the ranks, and you also knowing from her 2015 application that she was a two-time felon, why did you never pick up the phone and call FDLE and get the approval? One call, one email, one submission would have done it. And you never did, Tiffany Moore Russell. You never made that call. You never sent that email, and you never reached out one time. And here is my theory. It is because you knew it would be denied, and you had a friend and you had a sorority sister that you were more interested in looking out for than the public and the security of the information in Orange County and our residents. And it is my opinion, based on this, that you are not fit to be the next mayor of Orange County. That is where it becomes a question to me. It is not a question of, okay, do you have a limited arrangement? It's why for 11 years, as a person within your own rank, someone who reports directly to you as general counsel, why was a call never made? Why was there never any documentation stating this person right here is working as my general counsel with two felonies? I want to make sure she can access this database that I sign off on because I want to make sure that I'm doing everything above board. That's what you would do if you were doing things the right way. What I believe happened, and it is my personal opinion based on what I see, is two people who were friends didn't want to ruffle any feathers. And surely Tiffany Moore Russell didn't want to lose her friend who was moving her way well through the ranks and doing a great job of moving her way through government. Didn't want to lose her. Didn't want to say, okay, oh man, if I do that, what if they come back and say, no, you can't? Then we draw attention to it. You know what? Let's just leave this alone for right now. It's not a big deal. No one's asking any questions. Back in 2015, Channel 9 does their thing, but it's been 11 years. No one's going to bring this up. And if we do bring it up, we'll say, hey, listen, we have a limited arrangement with them. Except, got to give it to Bill Moore, who gave us some of this information, that when the FBI, when they come back, when the FDLE, I should say, when they come back and say, no, we never received anything from this person. So Tiffany Moore Russell has questions to answer. And here's what I would ask for tomorrow's debate. Someone needs to ask Tiffany Moore Russell, why for 11 years did Roberta Walton work for you and never once did you attempt to get an approval from FDLE for her to access the FBI database legally? Why was that question never asked? And my theory is because you knew the answer. You knew there was a chance your friend and your sorority sister could be kicked to the curb, and you didn't want to take that chance. So instead, you took a chance with the most private information of Orange County residents, and you said, doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter. My friend had two felonies. She's my friend, and I'm going to look out for her, not the residents of Orange County. And I look at that, Anthony, and I go, shame on you. Ask the questions, ask tough questions. Tomorrow is the mayoral debate, tomorrow night at 8 p.m. This is what she needs to be asked. Why, if for 11 years you had the opportunity to vet your friend, did you never do it? Why? Was it not important enough to you? You sure as heck knew about the felonies. You are the person in charge of the most sensitive information in the county. Don't let that slip past everyone who watches my show. The most sensitive stuff in your life, if you've ever been arrested, if you are a felon, if you are somebody on a list somewhere, I don't know, this is the person that controls that. Don't you believe that that person should be held to the highest standard? The highest standard. And Anthony, these are the questions that I believe need to be asked. And I believe, number one, our investigative reporters have done a poor job in this county. Lord knows that's the truth. But papers, Orlando Sentinel, all of them. Why are we not asking poignant and direct questions like this in a way that everyone can understand why it is so vitally important that we guard against this kind of, well, possible corruption? All right. I'm not saying it is. I don't have all the facts. But I think what I've laid out here today, Anthony, is two people who have some questions that need to be answered before their names go on a ballot on August the 18th and people have a chance to vote for them. That seems reasonable to me. What are your thoughts, bro? I know I laid out a lot of information. Are there any, and by the way, I will take questions from anybody on this. I don't know if there's any questions that have come forward. I know this is not our normal, like, man, this is exciting stuff right here, but it's worth mentioning because of just how important this position is, Anthony. And I want people to know that although not exciting, it's not going to be a police chase that we're watching or, this right here is vitally important to the corruption that we have in Central Florida being rooted out. This position is essential to that right now. Anything at all? What do you got?
Honestly, though, I think you really hit everything because if they did it the right way and was like, hey, we're going to look into you, do all this stuff, and then get approval, then wouldn't we even have this? It would just be okay if we got the approval, all this stuff. But what we got from the FBI saying that there was no approval, nothing, and they were saying that they did.
No, yeah, I want to say the approval. There was no inquiry about the person. They didn't get an inquiry and then approve or deny. There was just no inquiry at all to FDLE. Mm-hmm. So that to me says if you had a limited arrangement, Roberta Walton, okay, now FDLE, but FDLE is saying there's never been a name that's crossed their desk with you on it. Who's not telling the truth? Or who is this arrangement with that you made? This is a reasonable question to ask somebody who's going to be the clerk of court, who's already a felon 2 times for, let's be honest, deceptive practices. And again, I'm not saying that people cannot change, but do you have to look at this with a little bit more scrutiny and go, is the person capable of lying? Yep. I think it's pretty clear they are. And are they willing to lie to save their own butt? Yep, they are. That's not my opinion. That's what the person has done previously. And that is worth looking at here. And I believe that that's something worth discussing. And I hope that tomorrow, that's the kind of questions that we begin to ask. I'm simply asking 2 questions right here. One for the person who's supposed to or could be mayor of Orange County, and the other that wants to be the clerk of court for Orange County. And both women have strong ties together, beginning with being sorority sisters, and then one working for the other for 11 years. If there is questions to be left unanswered, I sure as heck don't want to put these 2 in positions of power when they've already shown that they don't have good judgment when working together. I think that's very reasonable right there, Anthony.
Yeah. We actually got a question from Bill Moore.
Oh, what's up, Bill?
He asked, let's see. The other question that needs to be answered is Kim Roberta Walton Johnson, if elected, gets a public bond considering that the traveler's bond application asks 3 questions that determine the level of risk. One of them is, have you ever been arrested for a crime? The other question relates to, have you ever had a bankruptcy? And the other question relates to, have you ever had a judgment against you? And Roberta Walton has failed to provide the voters any evidence of documentation showing that.
I agree. I think this right here goes back to transparency. And I think Bill Moore is absolutely correct in what he asked. We don't know the answer to these questions. So when I hear this, Anthony, I look and I go, I don't know the answer to that, but nor does she, or nor does the public. And when I look at the position of clerk of court, it is such a boring position to talk about. So everybody just kind of tunes out. We're not like we're talking about like the mayor or the sheriff or chief of police, like something like that. It's like fun, right? Everybody wants to tune in on that kind of stuff. When someone hears clerk of court, they go, oh boy, here we go. But when we look at it from the perspective that Bill Moore is bringing up right now, and we say, hold it. Is this person going to be able to do their job? Yes or no? And if we don't know the answer to that, and we have an election coming up in 2 weeks in Orange County, in a county and in a city that, in my opinion, is littered with corruption all over the place, then don't we need to ask this question to people and get it answered before the election? Now, some people, oh, it's clerk of court. All right, well, whatever. I guess it'll work. We're talking about access to the most sensitive information that you can have. So, who do you want in there, everybody? Do you want somebody that's a felon? Do you want somebody who may or may not be able to do the work? Do you want somebody who said that they have limited access or at least a limited arrangement with FDLE, but FDLE has no idea who they are? They said they've never received anything from this person. And then also for Tiffany Moore Russell, if you know this and you've been working with this individual for 11 years and you could have cleaned this up anytime over an 11-year period as this person moved their way through the ranks, what do you care about more, your sorority sister or the county or the citizens of Orange County?
Yeah.
Anthony, I think I've laid that out about as clear as I can lay that out right here for everyone.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, there's a lot more information, but I wanted to make sure that I got through this because I need these questions to be asked, Anthony, and we have a oral debate tomorrow, and Tiffany Moore Russell is going to be a part of it. And I really hope that they ask this question to her and that there is follow-up with this county or the clerk of court position, and we get an answer from Roberta Walton. We will stay on top of this one, and I appreciate you all staying with me, okay? Because I know this one right now is not exactly the exciting subject that we like to talk about, but it is a very important thing for us to discuss. These two women have a lot of questions to be answered. Anthony, I'm going to move on to our next story, recent news that broke over the weekend, unless you got something else.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to our next story, everybody. And this is the one that if you were watching social media, you probably heard. There was another shooting at the Liberty parking garage in downtown Orlando early on Sunday morning. The Orlando police arrested 3 men early Sunday morning. That is going to be August the 2nd, after a fight led to gunfire. That's in the Liberty parking garage over on Pine Street. Officers responded to shots fired at about 2:30 in the morning. Now, nobody was injured. According to reports, the fight is between two groups and it escalated, and one man fired a gun. Police actually stopped 2 vehicles that were trying to leave, and they recovered 2 guns. 3 men were arrested: a Michael Espinoza, 20, for aggravated assault with a firearm, reckless display of a firearm; Isaiah Siraj, at 20, hit and run with property damage; and a Charlie Lopez, 21, possession of a firearm by a convicted delinquent. You know what's funny? I shouldn't say funny. You know what's crazy to me, though, Anthony? You and I decided to look if these people were in jail. And I bet all of our viewers are like, of course they're all in jail, Patrick. A gun was fired. People were trying to leave the scene. Firearms were found inside of cars. Of course all these men are in jail. Nope, they're not, everybody. These 3 guys are not all in jail. 2 out of 3 of them are in jail. And Isaiah Siraj, 20, who was hit and run with property damage, attempting to flee the scene, he was just given a ticket. And what are we doing? Folks, I want everyone to understand. He was, there's like a ticket. He was just given that ticket. When we're talking about guns that were fired, he's at the scene attempting to leave the scene, hit and run with property damage. Let's give this guy a ticket. Are we out of our... What are you doing, guys? No. Poor decision. Bad decision, OPD. Bad decision. Oh, Patrick, well, we don't know. You don't know all the facts of the case, All I know is that there were 3 men that were arrested in conjunction with a firearm going off in another downtown area in a downtown garage. 2 of them got taken to jail where they sit right now, and one of them is out in the public right now because they were just handed a piece of paper and said, you need to show up to court. Are we out of our minds? What are we running around here, guys? Come on. No. You take that person to jail and you leave them in jail. Like, we need law and order back in the city. What kind of message does it send when 3 men are arrested and one of them gets a ticket is what they receive. When we're talking firearms are going off, firearms are being, we have guns shot and firearms found in cars, property damage, people attempting to leave the scene. We arrest a person and say, let's give them a ticket. Why don't you put them in the back of a police cruiser and haul their butt to jail and leave them there for as long as possible? I'm so sick of this like weakness on crime. I don't care if that person is to sit there for 3 weeks. I don't give a crap. Start sending a message to people. I don't know that when you're involved around shootings, when you try to flee the scene, that you're not just going to get a ticket, that we're going to take this seriously and send you to prison for as long as possible. Anthony, I was shocked at this morning. People, we look at this and we go, why do we have shootings downtown? Why do we have some guy in the middle of Church Street shooting his own sister in the foot? Why do we have a guy outside of the Taco Bell pulling a gun out and shooting up right there? Why do we have 3 guys inside of a garage that thinks it's appropriate to take out a gun and fire it during an altercation? I don't know. Maybe it's because they look at this and go, well, I mean, you can just get a ticket if you're involved with it. So why not? I'll go ahead and seem like I'm a badass, and I'll go ahead and brandish my firearm. I'll flee the scene because OPD will give me a ticket if I'm involved with it. You want to know why you have problems in downtown Orlando? It's a lack of accountability. So this officer, you got it right there. You got the thing. What's his name?
Oh, the officer?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right. I'm going to bring this thing up.
Let's see.
I want to look at this guy because this is crazy. I can't. I've got the ticket. You put the ticket up there, right?
I can, but there's like addresses. I don't want to put that on there. I'll blur that out first.
I blur it out after, but it's absolute crap. You're right. We shouldn't put that on there. But it is public record, just so everybody is aware. It is public record. I didn't find anything that I had to go searching for, did a records request. It's public record out there. You can see the ticket for the guy. All right. What are we doing though, man? Like, I think generally when the public looks at this, they would assume when they read the articles and they read the headlines, 3 men arrested for a shooting in a downtown garage, they immediately assume, okay, those 3 guys are off the streets. And you know what? They're in jail. They're not in jail. One of them is still out there. One of them just got a paper ticket. Looks a lot like the one that you get when you get pulled over for speeding. What?
Yeah.
This doesn't make sense to the average citizen. And people want to know why I get so Patrick, you're so negative all the time. It's because I look at this and I think as a common sense individual, how could you look at this and go, oh, this makes a lot of sense? Nobody could. Because all of us would assume when we read these articles and we see it that we go, well, at least they caught the guys and they're off the street. No, well, they caught them. Yeah. And 2 out of the 3 of them are off the street. Why are we allowing people like this to go free? You bring them to jail, put them in a cell, and then let the courts decide what they want to do with them. If Monique Worrell wants to be weak on them, let her go be weak on them. Take the person to jail, put them into prison, do not let them out. I'm so sick of these people who are part of these crimes like this. And now what's going to happen to this person? We don't know. Do we think this person has great judgment or really cares about others? Again, they're charged with hit and run with property damage. 20 years old, man. Don't give me that. People don't give me that. Always young, the youth offender. That's what Monique Worrell's going to do. She's going to get these people in front of her, and it's going to be one of those stupid youth offender things she's going to come up with. Like, oh, well, you know what? I mean, they shot a gun. Nobody was injured. So, I mean, youth offender, just going to let them off right now. You know, time served, put the probation on them, and that'll be it. No. Put them behind bars. Put them in prison for a very long time because you're shooting guns and people die. And there have to be consequences for your actions. And when you're involved in these crimes and you sit there and you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And yet when we do this, what we do is we encourage future violence because we don't provide consequences to actions. This is why people don't like the Democrats that are running right now to be the leaders inside of Orlando and Orange County. It's because they look at them and they go, yeah, you're a weak son of a... All right. Everybody wants to talk about, oh, we need more opportunities for everybody and affordable housing, and we need all these things. What we need is law and order in the streets. We need somebody who's going to say, nah, a ticket ain't good enough. Put your butt in jail, and we're going to charge you to the full extent of the law. And then whatever we can charge you with, the full extent of whatever that sentence can be, we need a district attorney who's going to do that. Not someone who's going to come in here. Undoubtedly, what Monique World's going to do is go in there and go, oh, well, youth offender, let him off. Let him off with like 6 months probation, or I don't know, give him some community service or something like that. Like that's actually going to help something. And what OPD wants, everybody, is the people that are in OPD, they want help. They want to arrest these at least I think they do. I'm not happy about what I see right here. I want to think that they want to do better.
Yeah.
And now for everyone out there, so here we go, Anthony. It's Patrick, well, all you do is talk about problems. Why don't you tell us what the solutions are? All you do is moan. Okay, let's talk about solutions because they're real simple, everybody. There are 30 garages, approximately 30 garages or so in downtown. All right, now that includes our city garages. That includes private garages. There are about 30 garages that people can park at in downtown. Why don't we just install cameras at the front and entrance of every single garage there is in downtown? The front entrance and the back entrance of downtown, 30 garages. Push those out to about, I don't know, $2,500 per camera. That's about right. $2,500 to $3,000. I bet we could get a discount. That's $5,000 per garage. If you do 5,000 times the 30 garage, so it's what is that, 300,000? Okay. So $300,000, right? Am I saying that right? So it'd be $5,000 per garage, and it's 30 garages. So it'd be, $150,000, I believe. Okay. $150,000. I can't do math, everybody. So let me try that one more time. You've got 30 garages downtown. Did I do this right?
Monday,
what am I doing, bro? You have 30 garages, $2,500 per camera, one at the front, one at the back. That's $5,000 or $5,000 per garage. All right. $5,000 per garage, 30 garages, 3 times 5. That's $150,000 per garage, or $150,000 is all that we need. Plus, you need the maintenance, bringing up to about $180,000. Then maybe it's like, I don't know, somewhere around, let's see here, depending on the scale, let's just say about $180,000 a year. Okay. What we need is put these flock cameras, and oh my God, it's flock cameras. Everyone go crazy. Flock cameras at the front and at the entrance and at the exit of every single one of these garages. That's what we need, so that every single person who drives into one of these garages who wants to park downtown, they have their license plate read, they have their car read, and we find the felons in the garages. If you want to start to know how to clean up downtown, you begin with the garages where so much of this violence is happening. You take cameras and put them at the entrance, you put another camera at the exit, and you read every single license plate and vehicle that walks or that drives its way into that garage. Oh no, well, I'm done caring about what somebody thinks about a flock camera. What I'm more carried about is safety right now. And I don't care if you want to call it flock cameras or license plate readers, whatever you want to come up with as the name. But what I see when I go down to Miami is on Miami Beach, when you drive down, those cameras are reading you every step of the way. They're looking for warrants. They're looking for expired tags. They're looking for expired registrations. They're doing all that stuff for you in real time for the officers down there. And there is no reason that we cannot have cameras in these garages that are reading license plate, informing officers, and arrest these people immediately upon them coming downtown. What a great investment, everybody. Think about that investment that we could have. For what? I mean, we're talking maybe $200,000. Let's just call it $200,000. We can put all of this stuff everywhere. Put this in every single garage in downtown Orlando. Then you do a sting. You get OPD down there. You put an officer or two, you put 2 officers at every garage for a couple of nights. And I promise you the traffic to downtown would end pretty quick, because people would get, oh, shoot, man, I don't want to go down there. I'm not driving my car. My license plate is expired. My registration isn't up to date. I don't have any insurance. I don't want to get pulled over. I don't want to deal with this crap down there. You have to start with the source, and the source is the garages. So you put cameras at the front and the back, and you make sure that the people going in there are at least law-abiding citizens that don't have warrants. This seems to be very reasonable to me.
Yeah. And
Solution, problem solved. And we're talking a few $100,000. Hell, make it $500,000 and put the things everywhere. We're spending $5.2 million on 500 feet of street. I think we can spend $500,000 to actually correct a problem. But nobody wants to think about that stuff because we're so worried about people screaming about flock cameras. So let me just call them something different. License plate reader, put them at the front entrance and the backside of every garage, and problem will be solved. Now, am I saying that everybody who comes downtown who brandishes a firearm or does something stupid as a felon and you'd be able to catch them? No. But what I am saying is a lot of the riffraff that already has felony warrants that are out there, why don't we catch them right away? Why are we letting those people park in our garages downtown Orlando and then walk wherever they want to go? Like, hey, you know what? I don't even care. Why don't we do what Miami has done in Miami Beach that makes sure that if you steal a vehicle, you do something the wrong way, if you have any warrant whatsoever, you sure as heck are going to get caught down there. But we'll just let somebody just drive willy-nilly into our garages, come out there with a gun and walk amongst us in the streets of downtown because we don't want to invest $500,000 in security because we're worried about somebody online what's going to say about their rights. The rights for me, great, no problem with rights. I'm not asking people to go ahead and look at the face of the person who comes in, facial detection. I'm not asking for any of that. I'm simply asking when someone goes through that little gate that opens and they read the license plate that's right there, that we look and see if that person has a registered felony, if they have a warrant that's out for them. And there's a police officer sitting right there and they get a ding and it goes felony warrant. And they go, whoop, whoop. And they pull that person over and we get one more person off the street who shouldn't be in downtown carrying a gun and shouldn't be there in the first place because they're probably there to start problems and they obviously don't care about the law. Will somebody in this godforsaken city come up with a solution like that that might, just maybe, solve a problem or save a life? But instead, our mayor is worried about putting parks underneath I-4 and digging up 500 feet of street for $5.2 million. Why don't we worry about the problems that we have on the ground right now and stop worrying about the parks initiative from Buddy Dyer? It's the dumbest use of money I've ever seen in my life. The ineptness in which our government runs in Orange County and Orlando is beyond anything people can imagine. And this right here is yet another shining example of simple solutions to problems, but yet inept leadership who's unwilling to do something because they're afraid they're going to offend some group of people and they're going to get really loud. You know who's going to be a lot louder is going to be that parent who loses a child to gun violence in downtown because a felon is allowed to walk. Enough. Arrest people. Put them in jail. Prosecute them to the full extent of the law. They're going to hurt and kill people. It is wrong. Why is this so difficult for our government to understand, Anthony?
yeah, and if you do that same thing in Winter Park, completely different story. And I like there's like just a complete difference from Winter Park to like downtown Orlando, and I feel like just with how they handle crime, it's just so much better.
Oh, you do that in Winter Park? Oh, they're putting you in prison.
Yeah,
and they should. In Orlando, they're giving you a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
They're giving you tickets, and we don't have cameras to read license plates. We don't have enough officers as it is. I got it. So why don't we use some technology and a limited investment from the city instead of spending $18 million on Orange County on a library or $5.2 million on a street or $2 million on some renderings for a park initiative for Buddy Dyer or that stupid canopy thing they're starting about doing on Church Street? Why don't we invest in some cameras and actually start to make downtown safer? I mean, call me a novel concept right here of common sense, but I think the first thing we should probably do is make downtown a place that's safe before we try to dig up some bricks and put a canopy on it.
Yeah,
I know it's crazy thought that I have over here. It's a joke though, bro. These people are morons. Mm-hmm. There's no other way to say it. It's like you're surrounded that movie Idiocracy. That's what Orlando and Orange County seems like. These are so like I'm coming up with these off the cuff, man. And these people are like, they've been in office. And what do you do? Do you just look at this headline and go, well, you know what? Let's just keep on doing what we're doing. Hey, let's have a meeting with the chief of police. Or how about you come up with a solution? By the way, I'm still waiting. All these damn politicians, man. Let me tell you, for those of you who are watching my show, they're a joke. Every one of them. You know why? because these politicians who come on, everybody's afraid to offend a group. I don't want to offend the marginalized. It's like, come on, man. Like, we know who's committing the crimes in downtown. They're felons. They're down there. They're felons. And when there's felons and a lot of them in one place, it's pretty easy to root it out. All you have to do if they're a felon is figure out before they hit the street by looking at their vehicle, figuring out if that car is registered to somebody that is a felon that has an outstanding warrant, and then do something about it. Like, problem solved. And I'm not saying you get pulled over if you're a felon. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying if you have an outstanding warrant, cool, do it now. Problem solved. When's the next Orange County meeting? When's the next Orlando City Council? Vote. $500,000? It's a drop in the bucket for what that city and the county waste. I mean, let them waste a little bit more, but actually do something with it this time. Problem solved. Or at least the problem is not solved, but it's a step in the right direction. We're beginning to solve the problem. Yeah. We're not just going to look at it and go, oh boy, another shooting in downtown Orlando. Whatever will we do? We'll start to take action. We'll start to do things that make an improvement and make us safer streets. God, these people. Yeah. I'm sorry. People it's so ridiculous, Anthony. Yeah. All right, everybody, let's go. Our next story here is one that Anthony, I know, is very sad about. Oh. And so am I. Gringos Locos looks to be closing its doors after 17 years.
Honestly, if I wasn't in West Palm this weekend, that was the first thing I would have gone to. Straight to Gringos. But
this one's tough, man. I have a lot of memories there. Employees and staff were told Friday night, July the 31st, that Saturday, August 1st, would be the final day for Gringos Locos locations. The company has not made a public announcement. But I guess if you do call the 4 locations, you're going straight to voicemail right now. It was founded in 2009 and grew from a single downtown location, taco shop, into a chain of locations in downtown Orlando, the Milk District, Soto, and UCF. 17 years. Place has voted best tacos 8 years in a row, man. I mean, this place has been an Orlando staple. Everybody knows where I'm going with this. It's sad. I think I had probably about 30, 40, 50 people. I had a lot of people send me this story as it broke over the weekend. And a couple of them who I know I responded to, and I appreciate it from everybody. I was emotional about this one because so many of us have great memories if you grew up in the Orlando or at least had your 20s here, even the UCF students now. You have those great drunk, memories.
Like 2 a.m.
Oh, man, you know what I'm saying? Like me too. I get on this show, of course, and we talk about a lot of serious topics, but when I think about this place, I think about those nights where I was drunk after going to Dapper Duck downtown, and I need some good food. It tastes so good. Like 2 throb, just loving every minute of that. A lot of people have those memories, and it's sad to see that this is happening to yet another downtown business. It was one of 2. There was actually another business that closed, bringing the number up to 19 small businesses that have been forced to shut their doors in downtown Orlando since January. It is sad right now in downtown Orlando. And if I sound like I'm being negative, and I know that many of you watch this show and you've written me comments like, man, Pat, I love you, but it's always negative. Here's the reason I do this show the way that I do, is because when I see things like this, everyone, I want to bring attention to it because we can't solve the problem until we identify the problem first. For all of you who own small businesses, or heck, let's just relate it to everyone, in your marriages or in your relationships. If you have a problem in your relationship with your spouse, if you can't identify what the problem is, there's no way to solve the problem. In fact, you could say that half of the battle to solving it is just identifying clearly what the problem is. And if we say things like, well, businesses are leaving downtown Orlando, and I tell you that, but I don't report on those businesses when they happen. If I don't report on the crime when it happens downtown, if I don't tell you how OPD and our city leadership is responding to that crime, we can never identify who is actually responsible, and we can't fix the problem together. So when I see that 19 businesses now have closed their doors in downtown Orlando in the last 6.5 months, it's scary to me. And scary in the respect of, it gives me a lot of anxiety because I'm like, how many more? How many times do we have to see the same story repeated before people wake up and go, you know what? I know Patrick might be a little exaggerated, like a little over the top sometimes, but man, he's right. When I go down Pine Street or I go down Orange, there's far too many buildings now that are empty that used to be places to have people and life and friendships and drinks and food, and they're empty now. And when you go down there for a lunch, you look around and go, the city looks deserted. When you go down there in an afternoon on Saturday, you go, where are all the people at? And it's because great businesses like this can't survive anymore because they've done such a poor job and ran downtown into the ground that small businesses have fled out of the area into places like Lake and Seminole County. And it's left these other small businesses down there hungry for patrons to walk in the door, wanting to deliver a great product and service that they always have, and not having people to deliver it to. And right now, I hope that people are waking up and seeing this story. This one should hit for everybody emotionally because we all have so many ties to this great Central Florida restaurant.
Yeah.
And to not have it around anymore, Anthony, is a crying shame and a reflection of the leadership in our county and our city and how they have failed small businesses and citizens.
Yeah, I'm super devastated about this one because I love Gringos.
I know you were upset about this one. You know, normally I've got to be the one to get kind of hyped up, but you were very upset about this.
I'm still, I don't know. I'm still in that conspiracy theory where it's like we haven't had an official report yet. It's been a weekend now, still nothing. So I'm hoping, I'm still keeping my guard up. Maybe they're just like, oh, April Fools, and then they're coming back, and maybe it's just a marketing stunt. But I don't know.
It'll be a great marketing stunt. Listen, I give them credit if it is. All right. Everything that I've seen though, when I see that, you know, you're calling them, it's going to voicemail. It looks like there was a lot of talk about this over the weekend. I waited, even though I did the show yesterday, I waited through today and this afternoon. We're doing this show right now, just after lunchtime. I waited to see if they did come out with anything because I wanted to make sure that, hey, was this the truth or not? Because you're right. You don't see a lot of the reputable news stations covering this. And it's because they're probably like us. They're waiting for an announcement from, from Gringos Locos. They're waiting for an announcement from the ownership and they haven't received it. I'm not too surprised about the, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm a little shocked in the sense that all the locations closed. It's not like one or two, which I can understand more of like, oh, like we're going to close the downtown one because we're losing money on that one or something.
Yeah.
But I was shocked when they closed all of them. I don't know.
Well, from somebody who's had to close businesses before, okay? Let me explain this to everybody, all right? And for small business owners, I know you're going to be able to relate to this. There are certain times that you close a small business and you just say, I'm done with it. Like you've given everything you can and you just say, I'm done. Like, and for small business owners who listen to us, you know this feeling. I can feel it in my heart now where I've had to do this, where you just go, I give up on this. I've given my heart and soul to this. And I'm not going to downsize to one location. I'm just going to say, I'm done. And you need a fresh start in your life. There's no shame in that. Every small business owner who's been through it a few times in their life, like I have, you know the feeling very well. And it hurts. It hurts to your core. I am assuming here that what we see, Anthony, is we probably have an ownership group that is in pain because this is their small business, right? And I'm sure they're trying to think of a way to come out in either one, maybe they are going to downsize to one location, or two, they want to explain to the public in an accurate way why they decided to close the doors. But don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not very surprised that we haven't heard anything because I understand what it can be like to have to tell your staff one day and then you wake up the next day and you don't have a place to call your home. Yeah. Because if you're a small business owner, you know your home becomes your office. It's more of your home than probably sometimes your home even is because you spend so much time there. And I have to think that these people are physically and emotionally in a really rough place. I'll be interested to see probably by tomorrow what comes out. I hope, like you, this is going to be a downsize to one location and that we have a place that people can still call home and make memories because it's been such a special place and such a heartbeat of Orlando for so many years for both young kids, adults, you name it, across the board. So let's keep our fingers crossed on this one. Plus, the food is excellent.
Yeah.
It's a great freaking burrito.
I know people say like, "Oh, it's so expensive," but I'm like, man, I didn't care how much it was. It was good.
Oh, go to Chipotle, man. What do you want to do? Pay $2 more there, or you want to go to Chipotle, which is insanely expensive now?
Yeah.
Bro, Chipotle's it's going crazy.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're spending like $22 to go in there and get a bowl with like double meat
Crazy.
and a drink. Like that's it. Like the double meat now is like $8. I mean, it's ridiculous how much it is. Like how much it costs for double meat is like what a burrito bowl used to cost just plain out.
Yeah.
It has been unbelievable to go there and try to find some food. God. I want to jump into our next story of the day. We've got a good show here for you today, everybody. We're staying with you. Anthony, if you hear or see any questions coming in, I'm happy to answer them as long as it's people that are not calling me a jerk or whatever else they want to say. All right, don't tell me those ones because that's going to kill my confidence, people. It hurts me, okay? Next, we want to talk about this tomorrow, everybody. There's a mayoral debate. There is a mayoral debate tomorrow, not for Orlando, for Orange County. There are 4 candidates that are going to go live tomorrow in WFTV. It is tomorrow, August the 4th. And it looks like it's going to be anchored by Greg Warmoth. I can never pronounce his name. Sorry, Greg. And Martha Sagalski. Moderated at 8 p.m. It is again going to be streaming on WFTV. The candidates are going to be discussing their vision for Orlando. I will be doing this a reaction live with you. If you want to hear my commentary on these candidates, you will be able to tune in live tomorrow at 8 o'clock as I will give you my breakdown of what these candidates are saying. I will not hold back. I will tell you what I think about their answers and then allow you to make your own opinion. Probably going to be pretty harsh on them, as I'm sure you can imagine. I'll be doing your play-by-play commentary for the Orange County mayoral debate. And yes, it is hosted by WFTV, but it'll be moderated by Patrick Carr as I will be watching that and I will be giving you the play-by-play of what I hear from these 4 candidates. And so if you want an honest look at what these people are all about, tune in tomorrow. I will be going live tomorrow night, 8 p.m., to go ahead and give you my thoughts on Chris, Tiffany, Stephanie, Myra. All of them will be present. They want your vote. That election is going to be on August the 18th, and we need to make sure that you are informed. And the best way I know how to do that is to try to make this damn thing entertaining for you, because I assure you it's going to be boring otherwise, and nobody's going to tune in because it's boring. So I'm going to do whatever I can to try to liven this thing up a little bit, tell you the truth behind what the candidate is actually saying, whether it offends anybody or not. You can find that right here on the Patrick Carr Show. What do you think, Anthony?
Yeah, I'm excited to see it tomorrow.
I'm excited to see it, man. We've talked to 2 of the 3 people, or 2 of the 4.
Yeah.
All right. For some reason, I don't think Tiffany Moore Russell is going to come on the show.
Oh, well.
I know, right? Stephanie Murphy, I doubt she's ever going to come on. I don't know. Stephanie Murphy's, she's probably the front runner right now. I would say she's probably the front runner. Lord knows she's got enough money behind her. But I'm hoping that tomorrow, Martha, if you were listening to this, I really hope that you will ask the questions regarding Visit Orlando. If I could take anything away from the mayoral debate that is happening tomorrow, I know I'll be doing it live. I will be sitting there. I'll be watching. I'll be giving commentary for what is actually happening. But I truly hope that tomorrow 2 questions get asked. One, you've got to ask Tiffany Moore Russell why she never worked with FDLE to get an approval for Roberta Walton. We need to know why in 11 years that never happened. And then number 2, we need to know these people who are up there who voted yes for Visit Orlando, did they ever look at where this money is being spent? How much did they look at the budget for Visit Orlando? They need questions answered about this thing. I want to know straight up. Martha, please ask this question. If they knew what they knew now, would they ask Phil Diamond for an audit of Visit Orlando? Is it time for Visit Orlando to be audited by Phil Diamond? And if they are mayor, will they demand that we get an audit of Visit Orlando immediately? I am begging that question be asked directly. Yes or no? Will you audit immediately Visit Orlando? I'm going to ask that question right now. Here we go. This Stephanie Murphy is the one, Anthony. Stephanie Murphy's the one who's got to answer this question right now. So my question to Stephanie Murphy, if you become mayor of Orange County, will you immediately demand that Phil Diamond do an audit of Visit Orlando? Or do you not have the backbone to make that happen because so much of your money comes from the hospitality industry? Will you do it or will you not? That's the only thing we need to know about this next mayor, because they are going to be the one who is going to be in charge of that 2028 renewal for Visit Orlando. And this is not a small issue. This is hundreds of millions of dollars we are talking about right here. This is the difference between our city coming back and our city continuing to decay. The decisions the Orange County mayor is going to make with our money in returns to Visit Orlando and the corrupt organization that they are makes all the difference. So I'm asking you right now, Stephanie Murphy, ahead of tomorrow's debate, will you demand an audit of Visit Orlando, or will you just say I get too much money from the hospitality industry and their interests are more important than that of Orange County residents? You have a choice to make, and I hope that Martha and the team over at WFTV, they ask that question directly. She is the front runner right now. You've got to nail it on them. We got to know if this person is going to take Visit Orlando seriously or if they're going to give them a pass because too much of their money comes from the hospitality industry and they don't want to upset anybody. Sick of this crap. So much corruption in this damn city and county.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, we're closing on the end of the show here, and I've got two stories that I want to bring to light. First one is somebody that I really have enjoyed listening to, Anthony, is Tony Romo. This is a national story that's been happening right now. CBS has not fired Tony Romo. They have put him on a leave from his role at CBS Sports until further notice. So he is on leave. He is not fired as of 12 o'clock this afternoon. That today is Monday. For those of you not aware, Romo was arrested July the 23rd in Wisconsin for operating a vehicle while intoxicated. It was just recently that a body cam footage was released. In the body cam footage, which I did watch over the weekend, he was leaving a golf course. He insisted he had had 0 drinks. It was very obvious from watching the footage. He definitely had had a few drinks. They take him through the field sobriety test. There's a few things I want to say about this entire thing. Number one, extremely talented football player, extremely talented at his job. All right. So I'm very sad for a sports fan to see the individual go. Number two, I believe in accountability. This is an individual that could have killed somebody or worse. He was definitely intoxicated. You can see it through the body cam footage. Number three, the replacement is going to be J.J. Watt is going to step in and fill his place. I'm not excited about that one right there. I don't think he's even going to be able to come close to what Tony Romo has been able to do in the press box. And then number four, I'm going to take an unpopular opinion on this because I've watched all of the body cam footage, which most of you have not. I'm going to say this. Although he was drunk, and he was, all right, I think that he's going to get off on a much lesser charge because of the officer that arrested him. The officer that arrested him, I encourage everybody to go watch this body cam footage. She's clueless. She goes through the test. She stutters about every other sentence. She can't get it out. She's trying to read from a card that she looks like she's shaking. She's so nervous. You can tell she knows who she's running these tests through and that she has no idea what she's doing. And so I'm listening to this, and I'm listening to it last night as I get prepared for the show. As I'm listening to it, Anthony, I'm getting confused. I'm thinking I'm sober as I can be, and I'm trying to follow this woman's directions. And boy, let me tell you what, they are confusing as they can be. So Tony Romo, in fact, will go ahead and he'll get, his DUI and may get to a lesser charge. But I believe in accountability, no matter who you are. But I will say this: his attorney got a lot more ammunition by just how inexperienced this officer was. She should have turned over these tests to somebody who was much more experienced in their office. They really did her a disservice. They got him back to a station. They didn't do it out there in the field. Somebody with more experience could have taken this over. She looks like it does not look good. And I think that there's probably going to be a lesser charge in DUI, maybe like, reckless or something like that. But I believe in consequences and accountability for everybody. He should definitely pay that consequence. It looks like right now, although he is on a leave, it's going to be very difficult for him to get that job back. He does have a morals clause in his contract. He has $72 million left owed to him right now. It'll be very interesting to see if he comes back or how he makes that comeback in the months to come. I do think he will land on his feet because he is talented at what he does. In addition to that, whether you like it or not, the DUI video, the body cam footage shows him to be a likable person, Anthony. Whether we like it or not, I believe in the accountability for the action. I'm separating that for what happens in the future. And what I believe is going to happen is that he's going to get another shot here soon because he was a likable person in the DUI video. He made a mistake. He's talented. He's great at his job. I don't see, even if CBS decides they're not going to pick him back up, I believe somebody else will.
John said Romo won't be fired. He makes too much money for the network. They'll probably just say he just made a mistake and he'll seek treatment.
Yeah, I don't think he's far off right there. I think he makes a solid point. Right now, I'm seeing people go around and say fired and say he's not fired. He was put on a leave of absence right now. And what CBS is doing currently is CBS is taking this and going, what should we do here? Because we've got the season up around the corner, and J.J. Watt is about 5 levels below Tony Romo. And everyone who watches football loves watching Tony Romo do a game. It's like you're involved in the game. The guy is calling out plays before they even happen. He's a savant when it comes to football, and he's so much fun to listen to. And he needs accountability for his actions. Two things can be true at once, all right? And I believe there needs to be accountability for Tony Romo, and I believe that he's going to land on his feet because he's extremely talented at his job, and talent in this case is definitely going to get him another position. I'm just not sure where and when, but come on, folks. Football season's around the corner. You think that guy's going to sit on the sidelines with his talent? If CBS doesn't want to do anything, there's a lot of other organizations that are going to take the risk on a Tony Romo and say, yeah, we're going to go with this one right here.
Yeah, 100% on that.
Absolutely, man. All right, our last story of the day right now is Ariana Grande. Now, I know it's not probably what people would think that I'd want to speak with, but I'm a big fan of Ariana Grande. And Anthony, I'm going to pull up the statement that Ariana Grande's, I believe, manager, I want to make sure I say it right because it's so sad. Ariana will be taking a step back from visibility after she completes the Eternal Sunshine Tour. She looks forward to finishing the tour and ending it on a high note, both healthily and happily, and then taking a much-deserved break from the public-facing work and appearances, which has led to endless, ongoing public scrutiny. This tour has been a beautiful experience for her. She loves her fans and has loved every minute of this tour so much. I want to focus in on one thing right there because it just breaks my heart, man. Ongoing public scrutiny. Lord, man, what are we doing here, folks? She's one of the good ones, right? She's a good guy. Stop with the public scrutiny. Stop this stuff. And, you know, I broke my heart when I watched this, and people think like, I mean, Lord knows I get enough negative comments. We know that, Anthony. But I can't imagine what someone like this, who is just so darn talented, what she has to go through. And there was so much, I mean, I just felt like when I'm reading this, like, come on. I want people that are this talented, this kind. I want them to be out there in the public. And for anyone who's watched an interview with Ariana Grande, if you walk away not loving that person, you're a psychopath. Because she is the most lovable, likable person that I can imagine. Mm-hmm. And this means that there are people out there that are so cruel, right? And they think that, oh, I can just say whatever I want. And you can. You have a right to. Sure you can. But that doesn't make it right. Just because something's not illegal doesn't mean it's right. Someone like this should be out there and people should be praising this individual. She is one of the true talents of this generation, right? There's only a few amazing singers that come along. You know, your Whitney Houstons and your Celine Dion's. Ariana Grande is in that category, in my opinion, of just a beautiful vocalist. But what separates her, as I'm looking up the story right now, is she just seems like a great person. Yeah. And to me, I'm a fan of her as a person, which makes me love her music even more. Watching her on Jimmy Fallon do things like the voice reenactments and do those challenges on Jimmy Fallon, you see a light in somebody that we need more of in the world. And I was scrolling last night. I'd already put all the stories together and I saw this and I was like, come on, man. What a great generational talent. Wicked. I mean, sick, amazing. I hope that whatever she is going through, I don't know if you call it a recovery, Anthony, but that she's able to come back stronger than ever because she's been under the public scrutiny for so long. And it breaks my heart to see somebody like that in pain because they seem to have such a beautiful heart for other people.
Yeah, I think she just needs to. I think she just wants to take a step back and just kind of get away from social media and all that stuff. And social media can be very negative and uh,
Really?
well, yeah,
God,
obviously, but
you're
like,
right.
but for someone like her who just has all the talent and like just a lot of stuff, and um, I don't know, just this past 2 years since you started doing Wicked, you just see a lot of these before and after comparing her,
Yeah.
and it's kind of sad. But I think she hopes she just gets the help and she just kind of takes a step back and just loves herself and doesn't care about what's going on with the other people or what
Yeah.
they say.
I completely agree. And it's so hard, everyone. Like I've got a terrible complexion, right? I get red and blotchy, and people will point that out all the time. And yeah, I'll be lying. Yeah, of course it gets to me, man. I read the comment. Every now and then I'll open my phone. I try not to read the comments, y'all. I'll be honest. It's nothing good's going to come from me from reading everybody's comments about me. But yeah, I've got a blotchy face. My face, I've got a terrible complexion. All right. I don't have any hair. Like, that's tough. I wish my face complexion was different, but it's not, everyone. So I've got to deal with that. Um, and so what I would say to everyone is try to be a little kinder. I mean, before you send that message and think, oh, you know what, whatever, they won't see it. You don't know that. They've got the same Instagram and Facebook that you do. And although they may have millions of followers, you may be the one comment that they see that makes or breaks their entire day and how they look at the contribution they're making to society. Now, has that happened to me? Yeah, it has. I've had certain people I've never met before that have made my day exponentially better because I read a beautiful comment about maybe what, helping them or thank you for doing what you're doing. And then I've had others that I've never met that have hurt my day. And that sucks too. Um, so I can see where somebody like this who has been in the public eye would go, you know what? I need to take a break from this. I need to center myself and find out who I am again. And I hope that you said, I hope she finds that because she's one of the good ones, in my opinion. And I hope she comes back stronger than ever because we need more like Ariana Grande because her videos bring a lot of life and her talent brings a lot of joy to people in this world.
Yeah.
Anthony, we have gone through one hell of a show here today, man.
Yeah.
We've covered about every topic that we can cover. Hopefully, we covered everything for people. Central Florida, I know there's a lot of great stories over the weekend we didn't get to. We do our absolute best. I've got to go run a company. Anthony, you got to go to lunch or something, right?
Yeah.
All right. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us here on the Patrick Carr Show. I said it in the beginning. Listen, I'll say it again. I'm not trying to make some selfless plug. We don't make any money for doing this, everybody. I don't get some salary from somebody. We don't do this in some studio space that gives us money. This is my my office. This is what we do. If you'd like to give to us, if you want to, $3 a month. I mean, it helps Anthony and I out. All right. We want to grow this team and give you more content and do more for you. You can go over to the PatrickCarrshow.com. We have merchandise over there. You can become a contributor. We can meet with you every week. We can have you on the show. Whatever it is, like we can work with you to make sure that you get some bang for your buck if you're a small business and you appreciate what we're trying to do. Thank you all so much for your support. We will see you tomorrow here on the Patrick Carr Show and then back tomorrow night. I'll be back here at 8 o'clock to be able to give you that live play-by-play of what's going on over there in Orange County. Have a great rest of your afternoon, Orange County, Orlando, and beyond. We will see you tomorrow on the Patrick Carr Show.